Happy Friday. This is Christie Taylor inviting you to check out the Christie Taylor Show special edition that streams on Facebook and YouTube. You can also follow us on the Christie Taylor Show and Christie Taylor Online. And our special guest today is Lashaunda Hawkins of LH Enterprises, LLC. She is an author, a motivational speaker, and be sure to follow her on her social media. Yes, on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm excited to get to know this young lady in up close and personal. Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show special edition.
Miss Taylor.
Hi. I have to say that in our prep, I said that, we have a lot of Facebook friends, but we had not really been in a close internet circle or social media circle. And I'm like, wow, once I started really just, researching you, I'm like, you have a lot going on, young lady. Okay. Are you Memphis born and raised?
I was born and raised in Memphis. Actually from Walker Home. Been there probably since I was about 8. So I'm from Memphis. I'm definitely from Memphis. Graduated from Mitchell, went off to the University of Memphis. So I'm from the city.
You're from the city. So University of Memphis, what was your academic focus?
Well, my major at that time was education, but I left there and went to Bethel University for my major in business. So I actually got 1 year left before I complete my bachelor's degree in business.
Wow. Well, it seems like, the business acumen is still there because you have your company, LH Enterprises, LLC. I would love to learn more about that.
Well, when I thought of what I do, because I'm pretty much a jack of all trades, I also have a cosmetic line, Kiss by Pay. I named that after my daughter, which is 3. It's a little story behind her. Once they get the book, they'll understand. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I write books and I got a cosmetic line, but it's more that I want to do. So I'm just going to list everything under LH Enterprises because in a minute, I'm going to be a publisher and an editor 2022. So I'm working on that now. So I just put everything on the LH Enterprises.
I love that. And you have thrown quite a bit at me. First of all, we have your enterprise and special hello to Sandra Hill Wilson and Nicole Gates. Thank you all for checking us out. Feel free to share this with your network because I'm going to get all up in this young lady's business. Of course, she's here to promote her upcoming conference. She knew her worth, but I know there's a journey to that conference that I want to get into.
Ma'am.
So here we are. You're talking about a makeup line. You're a mother. Also, it sounds like that, you understand empire building.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you said you majored in business at the University of Memphis and also Bethel. What really inspired you to do business?
Well, honestly, to be honest, I knew that I didn't want to work for nobody.
Independent spirit from a young lady. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I always knew that even as a kid, I didn't want to work for nobody. I wanted to have my own enterprise. I wanted to leave something behind for my kids, generational wealth.
Generational wealth. What sparked that in you as a young girl? Was there somebody in your family, maybe a community leader that really spoke into your life? A teacher?
Well, my family, I come from nothing. So I wanted to be the first one to break these generational curses. I'm the first one of my mom's kids to go to college. So I wanted to be the first in everything that I do. So I knew that I didn't want my kids to struggle and go through the things that I went through. So I'm like, I'm paving the way for them. They're going to have a better life than I did, and they're going to make better decisions and choices than I did.
Now, Lashaunda, without, if it's too much, you can say, no, that's too much. I understand that sometimes when we're growing up in, cities and there's a lot of dense poverty, and Memphis is known for its disparities, for its impact of poverty on our communities. And Walker Homes. Okay, let's go there.
It was rough.
Okay.
As being a kid, you see everything. People selling dope on the corner. You see women prostituting themselves. Just a lot of things that you see, as I quote, in the hood. It's a lot of things that you see in the hood. You definitely see. But I always knew that I didn't want to take that path.
Okay. So part of that was the inspiration to no, this can't be my life. This won't be my life.
It won't be.
So how did you do in school? Because sometimes that we use education as our first escape. from those social ills. So were you
Mhm.
good in school, or what did you
Believe
do?
it or not, I was a real smart girl. I graduated with honors.
Okay.
I graduated with honors to the top of my class, number 20 to be exact. I was a smart girl, but it was still a side of me wanted to see, what's on the other side. It's like being that good girl was too boring to me. Yeah, I was smart, but I wanted a taste of the street life as well. Because I wanted to know what it's like to be on both sides of the world. This side
That's a
and
challenge. That's a challenge for a lot of people in Black America. I'm just
mhm.
going to put it in the broader context, not just in Memphis, not just in the hood, but also, we don't want to feel alienated from Black culture, and Black culture does include, some street life. But we also know that that's not the only route to success in
Right.
America. So how did you navigate that? Because I don't hear in your story that you did time.
Well, I did go to jail, but just to
Okay.
rewind a little bit, I got involved with my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter is about to be 17. So I got involved with her dad like really early, 13, 14. Let me remind you, he's 25 years older than me. So you go back and do the math. So I got involved with him really early. First sex, first drink, first everything that I did with him. And I ended up getting pregnant. So I battled back and forth, like, am I gonna keep this baby? How I'm gonna tell my mom this? My mom up in the kid this man, this older man. So I was like, am I gonna keep the baby? So I'm gonna go ahead and keep the baby. So I had to tell my mom, but it was so crazy because my mom, she didn't think I was having sex. So she actually took me to the doctor to get on birth control.
Wow.
So I went, I'm already knowing that I'm pregnant. I said, my mom gonna kill me up in here. So I was like, I had to tell her because the doctor was like, I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to let you tell your mom. So when I told my mom, she was like, who's the dad? And when I told her, my mom wanted to kill him at that time because she was like, that's an older man, that's a pedophile. And I just had to just go ahead and tell my mom the truth. So with time, my mama felt like, what is the sense of locking him up? You finna have a child by this man. But my mama definitely didn't agree with that. But I was a teen, I was rebellious, I was hard headed, and we was kind of having a hard time at home because it was a lot of us. So I looked at this man as a father figure because I never had a father. The first time I met my dad, I was like 11 or 12.
Wow.
And my mom made me go. And he fought me because I wanted to go home. Like
what?
a man.
Wow.
Yeah. So I resented my mom for a long time because I felt like he been gone out of my life all this time. Like, why are you forcing me to go meet a man that I don't know?
Right.
And so I was complaining. How kids complain. I was complaining. I was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go home. And he was already drinking anyway. So I guess it was bothering him. He just got up and he just hit me in my face, punching me. I still remember this to this day as a kid. He was just punching me like a man. And his girlfriend at the time got him off of me. And I don't know who called the police, either her or me, but the police was called. And I knew then I never wanted anything to do with my biological dad.
There's a lot of, we use the word now trauma a lot, but that was a lot of childhood trauma that you would have to, soak up and process. So how did you begin to, I know that you were adamant, like, this is not going to be my life. I don't want this to be my life. Yet you had your toe in the water. You definitely were crossing all the lines. So where did your rescue come in?
My rescue didn't come for years later, like years later, because I went through more things. I lost my sister at 13 to full-blown AIDS. So can you imagine a 13-year-old having to change diapers? I had to change my sister's diapers, clean her IV. I remember, these things that I remember like yesterday, cleaning her IV, giving her meds. So that took a lot on me too at being 13 years old, having to lift me and my sister, a year older than me at the time. We had to lift her up and take out one diaper and put on another diaper because we saw her at the last stages. And I'm going to be honest, the last stages of AIDS, man, oh my goodness, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's like cancer. They deteriorate over time.
Right.
So it was many things. And also during that time period, my brother going to jail, my mama's oldest son going to jail. My brother's in jail for life plus 25.
Whoa. So may I ask how many siblings? Because it
It was
sounds like
seven.
you're it
Seven,
was
two deceased.
7
Two deceased.
and 2 are deceased.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom being a single parent, it sounds like she didn't have a lot of love and support from
Mm-mm.
the men.
Right.
Okay.
Because my mom went through things with my dad. My biological dad was very abusive towards her.
Right.
And my mom told me stories even when she was pregnant with me, how my dad kicked her in the stomach and just a lot of things. But my dad didn't want me. I was the child that he didn't want. So my mom went through a lot of domestic abuse, a lot of it.
I know that this is October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I mean, one reason why you're wearing your purple list.
Yes, it means a lot to me.
So it sounds like in your story, of course, we have 2 books. One that's coming out on Sunday.
Yes, Shattered Pieces.
Shattered Pieces. That the trauma that you're experiencing as a child is definitely going to be showing up throughout your life as you have relationships with people, men, have become a mother to other children. And you have, as you've witnessed, the stories from your mom's traumas, that you end up having relationships that also were not kind.
And it's crazy because all my mom's daughters went through domestic violence situations. Wow. And my brother, he was like, he used to beat on women. So it's like her kids. It's like, that's why I tell people, whatever you do, you might feel like it's not going to affect you, but it can affect your offspring.
Yes, that's true.
So that's why we have to be mindful of the decisions and choices that we make today.
Mm-hmm. And is this the brother that's serving life?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is the making of a lot of the stories that we see about Black life. And yet we always know that there's God in the midst of all things, giving us an opportunity to find love, joy, and as I would say, salvation. Mm-hmm. What becomes your salvation, Lashaunda?
Oh, man.
I mean, because I know there's some stories that we have to step into. Part of your salvation is telling the truth. And there are some truths you've had to tell that you're even sharing in your book.
I mean, it's so much that have happened in my life that, when people see me now, she don't look like it, but I have been through a lot. I didn't work in a strip club. I did that for a while because that was my way. I felt like I had been used by men. So I wanted to turn the table. Right. So I'm going to use what I got. And I'm going to use my looks and you all going to play me because I feel like I had been used by men. So this is my way. But it still didn't make me happy on the end because even when I had to be high. I had to either be high or I had to drink. I could never do it sober. I can tell you that. I could never do it sober because there's so many things that goes on in the strip club. It's so many things. And I really thought that I was ready for that life. So I did it for a while, but I was still empty inside. I was still unhappy. Even though the money was good, I was making the money, but I'm like, I'm unhappy. Even with this money. And as quick as I make it, I'm blowing it quicker.
Right.
I'm blowing
that's part of the lifestyle. That's part of the lifestyle. That's part of the drama. Right.
So, I did that for a while, but I was like, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to do that no more because my kids are going to eventually get older. They're going to see this, and I don't want them to see me in that light.
Right.
So I went through.
How old were you, Lashaunda, at that time? How old were you?
22.
So you were early 20s.
I was young. So I ended up meeting this guy, and we stayed together about 7 years. So we got to abuse again. It started off good, but over time, the abuse began. So I tried to cover it up as much as I could, but
And what do you mean by cover it up? Not telling the truth, not sharing,
not sharing it with nobody. Because I'm like, okay, he's all I got. I ain't got my family. Me and my family not get along at this time. He's a provider, So I'm just gonna take these. You know,
How many children did you have at this time, Lashaunda?
I had 2.
You had 2.
That's my 17-year-old, my 16-year-old. There was 2. So I'm like, I'm just gonna be quiet about it. But I remember telling my best friend at the time and my sister. But I was like, they started seeing the bruises. I never wore makeup, but he started hitting me in my face where I had to wear makeup because I had to go out in the public. And that's one of the reasons why I started wearing makeup, because my eyes was black. I had to wear shades to cover it up. But then it was a time where I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna get out of this. I mean, it was even a time where I had to call my sister and tell my sister, hey, I need you to, because if mama found out about this, I need you to, I didn't want my mama to know.
Why?
Because I wanted her to think that we had this perfect relationship. Because my mama thought that everything was going good with me and this guy at the time. We looked at like the bunny in the cloud, like it was just perfect. We was living life. And I was like, I couldn't tell my mama that this was happening, but she ended up finding out and she wasn't happy about it.
Well,
and I'm wrong with it, fine.
Yeah, Lashaunda, yeah, because you're saying you're 7 years into this relationship. I mean, you've had a lot of, sketchy situations that were happening even when you were a teenager. You experience and explore, I guess, for lack of a better word, the stripper lifestyle. And now you're in a quote unquote committed long-term relationship, not married, but it's, a long-term relationship, and you're a mother of 2. And you're still trying to please your mom. You're trying to not only please, but protect your mom. Do you know
it's
why?
It's crazy as it sounds, but yeah, that's what my mind said at the time.
But why? Because you've been trying to protect your mom since you were a little girl.
Because I always felt like my mom needed a protector. And I always felt like I was her protector, even though she had other kids, but I always felt like I was her protector.
Understood. So once she found out,
she wasn't happy about it. She wasn't happy about it because just to rewind a little bit, with my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, with her dad shot at me, and the bullets grazed the left side of my head.
Honey.
So when I met this guy, I was still in the strip club. So everything, when you first meet people, of course, everything gonna be perfect and butterflies, but it wasn't right then when the abuse started. It was like some years later, that control thing, when he seen that me and my family we was battling it out with certain things with my family. So it's that control thing. So I was like, okay, I don't want to say anything because everybody thinks that we're perfect, but we're really not. But it's just was one day I had to say something like, look, this is what I'm going through, and I got to figure out a way to get out of this. So I had to sit down and come up with a plan to get out of this relationship, because he was all I knew. That's what I felt like at that time that was true love to me, because he took me out of a situation. He took me out of the strip club. So I'm like, oh, he must love me. He didn't want me doing this, so he gotta love me. He took me out of that environment. But it wasn't love. That wasn't love. So what ended up happening, I ended up going to jail.
Why?
Going to jail for domestic assault, bodily harm on him. And it's so crazy how they took me to jail. He didn't go to jail, but I was actually the victim. I was just defending myself. But I went to jail. I just wanted to get some clothes out of the storage for my kids. I didn't want anything for me. I just was like, can you just please give my kids some clothes? But long story short, he had moved on with a friend of mine. He moved on with somebody that was in my house. So he was my friend at the time.
Understood. There's a lot that's going on, and I don't hear that you've even reached the age of 30 yet.
I'm 33. I'm only 34. I just turned 34 last week.
Now, I'm saying that this is all happening to you through your 20s, into your 30s. It's a soap opera indeed.
Yes.
It's a Tyler Perry storyline. And yet here we are. You're writing books. You have a business. And you have a conference about she knew her worth. So and I like stories. I've done poetry. I like to write movies, all those types of things. So I love storylines. So where in your story, your life story, do you begin to, I guess, come to
realization?
Yeah.
When I actually got pregnant with my 3-year-old.
This
That's
is
when
your third
reality.
child?
My third child. That's when
And who's the
reality.
father of this child?
We're not together. I got a story. See, I got a soap opera. I got a story about that as
Now, is
well.
that in the book? Is
No,
that the
it's
part?
in the Shadow Pieces. It is.
Okay, now, so a lot of what we can definitely speak to is in full disclosure in the book that's being released on Sunday, Shattered Pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they purchase that, Lashaunda?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, they can get Shattered Pieces and get all the behind the stories
Yes.
to this turbulent. You don't look like what you've been through.
I've been through it.
So 3 years ago, with the birth of this third child,
I knew that because I had abortions before. But I remember me telling God, like I said, well, if I ever get pregnant again, I don't care if I'm with the father or not. Because, my big kid is 17 and 16. So I'm like, I'm finna be starting all over again. Yeah. So I contemplated on keeping the baby. Mm-hmm. And her dad was like, well, I don't want no baby. We need to get rid of the baby. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I got to figure out something. Either I'm going to keep this baby or get rid of this baby, because if I get rid of this baby, it's going to make him happy. But am I going to really be happy? But I'm like, but I really want my baby. It don't matter how she got here. She's finna be here. So I ended up keeping a baby. And I went through a lot of stuff with her dad. Him wishing death on me. Him trying to get women to jump on me so I could lose the baby. Because he didn't want no baby. He wanted me to get rid of the baby, even if it meant I had to die, the baby had to die, the both of us had to die. He wasn't physical abusive to me, but he was very verbal abusive to me.
Mm-hmm. So you had grown in that respect where you engage in a relationship with a man who's not physically abusive as your previous relationships, but there is that verbal and emotional abuse. And now he is fathering a child he does not want, that you're going to be defiant and keep.
Yeah.
And yet there's a lot of turmoil. So how does
But Miss Taylor, I didn't keep the baby because of him. It was because of my vow that I made to God. It didn't matter if I be with the man or not. I'm not going to, because basically, I'm not going to murder another baby because this is something that he don't want. It's fine. Eventually, he'll figure it out. But I'm keeping my baby, and I'm happy.
Right.
And that's what I did.
With that being said, Lashaunda, you said that this was the child, though, that helped you with the wake up.
This growth.
The realization. So yes. What did you come to realize about yourself with this decision?
I knew if I kept this baby, because you got to understand, me and the big kids, we're growing together. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't know how to be no parent, because I'm like, me and my kids, we growing together. So I'm like, I know when I keep this child, she's going to teach me to be a better parent. Not saying that I failed my bigger kids, but it was some things that my bigger kids seen me go through because they went through a lot with me. And I vowed to never show, the little baby did. So, not saying that I was a bad parent, but it was a lot of things that I did wrong because I really didn't know how to parent. I was still a kid myself. I was a kid with 2 kids because I was 17 with 2 kids. I didn't know how to be no parent.
So this is an opportunity for you as an adult. I feel
like to redeem myself all around.
Now, how are you able to do that, Lashaunda Hawkins, with a lot of the lack of support from the father? It doesn't sound like your family structure is in place. So what have you decided I'm going to put in place this time so things will be different?
Well, I can tell you this. Me and her father now, 3 years later, we are in a great space. Okay. Because I believe it was my faith. I just started praying because I said, he gonna get better. He's gonna accept this child. He's just bitter right now. He's angry with himself. So I knew my prayers weren't being wasted with him. Mm-hmm. And here we got 3 years later. We're so much better. We're able to co-parent for the sake of our daughter. It's not about us. It's about her. And I don't know. I just went through a lot, Miss Taylor. It was a lot. It was a lot that I endured. I can't even break it down to you just in this podcast. It's just a lot. They're gonna have to get the book to
They got to
really
get the book.
understand.
They
They're
got
gonna
to
get
get
the
it.
book to really understand. Like it's deep, like this deep. But I just know this year was my year of coming to realization that I had to come to true forgiveness because I'm holding myself back. Something else that I shared with you that I experienced. I went through sexual assault from a family member 4 years ago. And right in the midst of that, a week or two later, I found that I was pregnant with the third child. I was like, I'm going through all of this. The dad, the daddy acting a fool. I'm going through this with family. I got family taking sides. This ain't even a situation to take sides on.
Right.
So I went through that by myself for a while. And here we are 4 years later. I just came to a place of true forgiveness, even towards my family that went against me on this situation.
Now, Lashaunda, I understand that what you speak of is more common in the Black community. First of all, it's common in America, where we have family that wants to keep the dark secrets secret. And it can be a journey of forgiveness. So I just want to say to you, at this age, the choices that you're making are going to be choices that you'll have to make day by day, every single moment. So even now that you've come to a place of forgiveness where you feel the forgiveness, because you're really you're forgiving yourself, and you're giving yourself space to forgive. The experiences that we have in life can be very traumatic. I'm here to
it
tell you.
It wasn't easy, but I'm gonna tell you, counseling helped me.
Yes.
Because I had so much trauma on top of trauma. It was just something that was just deep rooted with me. Even as a kid, I had to deal with myself.
Yes.
And I think it's the Exchange Club on Union. Oh man, they helped me.
Well, I want to celebrate you because I remember I was living in Detroit in my 20s, losing my mind, processing my, early life and challenges. And a dear friend of mine, Francine Walker, I'm just going to shout her out. She turned me on to therapy. And this is back in the 80s, before it was vogue or acceptable for Black people to even say therapy. And so I have always been an advocate for mental counseling, getting the help that you need, because we are a multifaceted human being, and parts of us can break, parts of us can have impact that we need attending to, just like the physical body, your mind, your spirit, your emotions. And we are, as women, particularly because this is a conversation we're having, are entitled to get the help that we need along the way. Because that's why I say, I'm telling you, as a woman in her mid-50s, that the choices that you're making now will be choices that you'll always have to make. But I'm glad that you're making them now, because it's going to get easier and easier and easier. And the life that you're feeling inside your spirit, the reason why you want to help others, is going to flourish. And I'm really excited for you, and I'm celebrating you in this moment, because you're making choices to be different. Because at the end of the day, the power of choice lies within us.
Yes.
Regardless of circumstances, situations. Definitely. Yes, that's right. We have a shout out from Sandra Hill Wilson. Stay strong, sis. God got you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
And see, I want to piggyback off what you're saying. That's why I want this conference, because I know we all go through things. Yeah. I just described some things that I've been through. That's just a little bit. I ain't even told you the rest.
That's why they gotta buy the books
a little bit, because we cannot continue to have the mindset of a victim. I really don't like that word. I'm an overcomer. I'm not a victim.
Right.
So I don't want women to continue to be a prisoner of their past. At some point, we're gonna have to look in the mirror, because I had to be real with myself. I say, you know what? Some of these things I put myself through, because God showed me the signs. So I had to take accountability. And so once I started taking accountability, I'm telling you, Miss Taylor, I took accountability. I looked in the mirror first. I took accountability second. And I forgave myself third. And that's how I've been able to, that's how my life been just taking off. I had to forgive me because I had been carrying that baggage, for so long. And I'm like, it's heavy. I don't want that title of a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm an overcomer.
I'm a coach. Yes.
So I said, hey, I'm not gonna walk in it no more. I'm finna walk into a new story. I'm tired of the same old song. I want a new song.
You want a new song?
I want a new song. I don't want that sad song no more. I want to experience happiness. When my husband do come, I want my husband to have the healed version of me.
Yeah.
Not the broken version of me. So you said, you notice I said my husband.
I heard you. I'm your husband. That's right.
I'm speaking your husband.
You want
to have the healed version of me.
Yes, you want
and my children.
Yes, you want everybody to, your husband, your children,
everyone around you.
Yes, your future life to have the healed version of you. And may the healing continue to flow. And you spoke about your conference. She Knew Her Worth Conference 2021. It's time to unveil the mask. And can you share, as we have the flyer on screen, about these amazing speakers?
Oh man, these amazing speakers. Shamika Rivers, she's a motivational speaker as well. So she's going to touch on depression. That's something in the Black community we really don't like to talk about either. She's also a stylist. Miss Latrina Moore Galloway. Oh my goodness, that's my heart. I met her through my sister. She's an HIV advocate. Her story is so amazing. Like, I think it's going to open a lot of people's eyes to HIV and AIDS. So she holds a special place in my heart, Miss Taylor, Miss Latrina. Minister Marzina Collins, she's a minister. She's one of the women that helped me on this journey. Because she introduced me to church. And I was like, I ain't going to no church. I ain't stepping foot in no church. But I'm so grateful for her because, man, my life changed that first day I entered Living Word Ministries. And I just want to thank Marzina and everyone over there at Living Word Ministry. They helped me build my faith. And I just thank everybody that's on the panel. I'm so grateful.
And it's going to be taking place. I'm just going to put it back up there one more time.
October the 23rd from 3 to 6 p.m. E. Nathan Design Studio, 4205 Hex Cross from 3 p.m. to 6. Please get your tickets on Eventbrite, or you can cash app LH Enterprises. This conference is going to be amazing. Like, even if you walking up in that conference with a burden, I promise you're going to walk up out of there set free. Because we're not taking it until tomorrow.
Yes.
We're finna break the chains. We're finna come out of bondage. Yes. We finna be healed and delivered so we can walk into our newness. We're not no victims no more. We're overcomers. So that's just something that's near to my heart.
One last question. The title of the conference is She Knew Her Worth.
Mm-hmm.
So can we say you now know your worth?
I know my worth now. I know my worth now. When I look back over my life, I'm not ashamed to say, "Oh, I put up with it. I dealt with it. I went through that." Because it was a point in my life where I was ashamed. I was like, I don't want nobody to know because they see me. I don't want nobody to know. But now I want people to know. It ain't no face to this. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Everybody done been through something. God is this. To be honest, this is not me. This is God is using me. God is using me to be a vessel for the kingdom. And I want to help set a lot of other people free, not just women, but men. If it's men that need to be set free, I want to be able to set people free and let them know about the goodness of God. Because, I was in a car wreck last year and I broke my arm and I was dealing with this guy. It's all in the book, but I'm going to share a little bit. But I'm going to tell you how God is so good. My arm was broken in car wreck. Did nothing happen to him, but everything was on me, on my side. I knew that was God protecting me at that time because my time wasn't up because God had work for me to do. And I couldn't see it at the time. That's why I've been single. I've been focusing on me. I've been celibate. I've been focusing on me. Everything is about me. It's nothing wrong with being selfish. Sometimes you have to be selfish with yourself, but I have so many people pulling on me, from my family to everybody pulling on me. Sometimes I have to put my phone on do not disturb because I need that me time. I need that time to go into worship. I need time to just deal with me and my kids. I have to turn my phone off because everybody was just pulling on me and it was draining me. So I said, I'm gonna do something different. You know, they say if you want different results, you got to do something
different.
That's why I got different results. That's why everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen for me. Because for one, I've been obedient. For one, I've been fasting, I've been praying, and everything that God told me, He gonna give me the desires of my heart, and He's doing it. That's why I said when I said yesterday, I said I prayed for all this, and it's happening. And I actually prayed for this back in 2013, but God know I wasn't ready. I was just talking then. But I'm ready now. Timing, season and timing. But I thank God for keeping me after the wreck because the enemy wanted to take me out. And the car was finna flip over. That's why I always tell people about God. I'm sorry, but God is real. Because I know what went on in that car. I was about to die. And God just allowed me to walk away with a broken arm and glass embedded in my body. Because God has a purpose. He has a calling on my life. And I understand it now. That's why I don't play with life no more. It's serious with me.
Well, I'm excited to see all that God is going to work in you and through you. And I want the audience who's going to be watching, and of course, feel free to share the replay. She Knew Her Worth Conference 2021. You can go to Eventbrite, search for She Knew Her Worth Conference 2021, and register for that event that's coming up. And thank you. Thank you, Lashaunda.
Thank you, Miss Taylor.
And I just want to say to all those who were watching today, thank you so very much. Yes, I know, powerful story, because God can step into any situation at any time and change our lives for the better. So we declare deliverance and determination and your destiny fulfilled.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you all so much for checking out this special edition of the Christie Taylor Show. And if you by chance would be interested in supporting the Christie Taylor Show, you can advertise your brand or your business here. Just simply reach out to the Christie Taylor Show. Until next time, be sure to check out all things Christie Taylor. Go to ChristieTaylorOnline.com. That's ChristieTaylorOnline.com. And be sure to follow Miss Lashaunda Hawkins on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you all so much.